Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Saturday morning.
This man accused of mailing bombs to politicians has ties right here to Charlotte. His criminal history in our area and the bizarre new details about his past.
All right, we're going to take a live look now from uptown Charlotte. We still see, looks like a little bit of fog out there, maybe some low clouds. It was a cold and wet Friday, but we are in store for a much better Saturday. And thank you for joining us. Good morning. I'm Blaine Tollison.
And I'm Kristen Lee. Yeah, the rain is out of here finally after a miserable day yesterday. Meteorologist Jacqueline Shears in Severe Weather Center 9 with a look at a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, cold out there.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out there now. And I don't want you to look at these temperatures and groan because this is about where we were yesterday morning at this time. And then we never warmed up from this. But today we certainly will. 49 degrees in Charlotte, 43 in Morganton, 47 degrees in Boone and Jefferson. But again, it gets better today at least. Here's a look. 62 degrees is a little bit below our average high of the upper 60s. We're staying mostly cloudy, but we also stay nice and dry. So a few trade-offs there. The good news is those temperatures continue climbing over the next few days. By Halloween, the mid-70s. We're tracking that forecast, and I'll have the updated information on those rain chances coming up in just a few minutes.
Jacqueline, we are following some breaking news from overnight. CMPD says someone was shot outside this motel. This is the Queen City Motel on Wilkinson Boulevard west of Allegheny Street. Police tell us this shooting happened a little after 1 this morning. Medic took the victim to the hospital, and we're working to get their condition. And police haven't made any arrests. When we do find out more, we will update you with any new information that we get. This man is spending the weekend behind bars as he awaits his first appearance in court for 5 federal charges.
Now, Cesar Sayoc is accused of mailing more than a dozen bombs to politicians and other major figures. This morning, we're getting a clearer picture of his past and why some who know him are not surprised by all of this. Natasha Chen has more.
I knew he had issues. He really was not. He definitely beat to the beat of his own drum.
Anti-gay, anti-Hispanic, anti-black, anti-women, angry. That's how some people who knew Cesar Sayoc describe him.
He told me more than once, Deborah, I like you as a manager, but I hate you for being a lesbian. And if I had complete autonomy, you and all of these other people would be eradicated.
Others say he's a loner who was living the lifestyle of a teenager. His family attorney says he was abandoned by his father as a child, lost and looking for a place to fit in.
He suffered from certainly an identification issue as to who he was. He needed people to be impressed. He found a father in Trump.
His cousin says Sayoc worked as a male dancer and took a lot of steroids. He said Sayoc previously worked at a pizza shop as a pizza delivery driver. Sayoc's past has been unraveling since his arrest, revealing a dark, violent, and obsessive history on social media, making death threats toward the media and Democratic officials, repeatedly mentioning alligators and pythons in the Florida Everglades during the threats. Sayoc's mother woke from surgery this morning and learned it was her son who had been the focus of a nationwide manhunt, arrested for sending over a dozen suspected pipe bombs to former presidents, top Democrats, and CNN.
Her emotions are varied. She's angry at him for doing this.
In Plantation, Florida, Natasha Chen.
We're learning Sayoc had ties to North Carolina, too, and lived in Charlotte, Matthews, and Asheville. Channel 9 confirmed he was a student at UNC Charlotte in the 80s and even played on the school's soccer team in 1983. In 1999, he was arrested in Matthews for possession of a stolen car, but the charge was dismissed 5 days later. His former coach at UNC Charlotte says nothing he saw led him to believe he was capable of this.
Our reaction is that it's very sad that we have that anybody, whether he's whatever his political beliefs are, that we're sending bombs to people.
Sayoc may have tried to return to North Carolina. Our sister station in Asheville says just last year he applied for a job at a Domino's Pizza there but was rejected.
Well, in the last 90 minutes, police updated us about a deadly crash on this stretch of Independence Boulevard where a pedestrian was killed. Police say just after 8:30 last night, a driver hit the person as they were crossing the road. Police say 5 other cars hit the person after that. And no one else was hurt, and every driver did stay on the scene. Police haven't charged anyone or identified who the person was who was killed. and they say the pedestrian did not use a crosswalk and was in a poorly lit area. The Coast Guard is searching the Atlantic Ocean for a South Carolina plane missing now for nearly more than 2 days.
A small plane left this airport in Andrews, South Carolina Thursday morning. The plane bound for the Bahamas had 5 people on board. Air traffic control received a call for an in-flight emergency about 45 minutes after takeoff. Then they lost contact with the pilot 110 miles off the coast of Charleston.
A local school district is randomly searching students in an effort to keep your kids safe. Our partners at the Herald report that schools in Rock Hill started searching backpacks and using metal detector wands. Officials say that they're also looking at increasing security at Rock Hill and Northwestern high schools. Last month, school leaders at Northwestern found a gun inside a student's backpack. It wasn't loaded, but they also found a gun that was loaded on campus in August.
Union County teens are using e-cigarettes to do drugs at school. County narcotics officers are trying to shut down the drug marketplace in schools. They tell me they use drug sniffing dogs around campuses almost daily. The sheriff's office also hosts events at schools to educate parents. But the sheriff says parents like to think their kids aren't involved.
We've got schools with 1,400 students in them, and we'll have 100 people. 150 people at the seminars.
Now, the sheriff is encouraging parents to be nosy. He says they should also learn about recent drug trends so they know what to look out for. An independent lab is testing water at Lake Norman High School for contaminants. Iredell-Statesville schools will spend $17,000 to test water in all 36 of its schools. The announcement comes the same week Channel 9 uncovered a recent incident of coal ash exposure next to Lake Norman High School. Officials say the testing is an extra precaution. The school system was not aware that regulators cited the coal ash exposure until Channel 9 brought it to the district's attention. A spokesperson said the district met with the Department of Environmental Quality and discussed ways to improve communication moving forward.
A bombshell grand jury report in Pennsylvania recently detailed decades of child abuse in the Catholic Church. But North Carolina's Attorney General says that type of report is not possible here. Josh Stein says that prosecutors do not have the same authority to investigate like they do in Pennsylvania. He says it is up to local district attorneys to prosecute a case unless the case is referred to his office. Stein believes that lawmakers should broaden prosecutors' powers in these kinds of cases overall. The Charlotte Diocese says it is considering publishing the names of local priests with credible sexual misconduct allegations against them. Police are investigating the death of a 4-year-old boy in Huntersville as a homicide. DeAndre McCullough was taken to the hospital Sunday, where he later died. Now, he lived with his mother and her boyfriend at their apartment off Statesville Road. Neighbors and friends told Channel 9 they are heartbroken.
We are all just devastated at this loss. We are completely devastated. It's at a point now where we can't even really process what has occurred.
And police say they are questioning several people for information in DeAndre's death.
Police are looking for a man who robbed a BB&T in Concord yesterday. This guy walked into the bank on Church Street North just before 5 p.m. yesterday. Police say he pulled out a gun and demanded money. If you know who he is, take a good look. You're asked to call police.
A South Carolina sheriff accused of sexually assaulting a woman in Charlotte just settled his case. The woman sued Greenville County Sheriff Will Lewis. Lewis admitted to an encounter with the woman during a business trip here last year, but says that he didn't do anything criminal. He was suspended. Attorneys did not release details of the settlement.
If your children still need vaccines for school, you can get those done today. Mecklenburg County's health department rescheduled this event because of Hurricane Florence. It's from 8 to 5 at their main office on Billingsley Road. The state's deadline for kids to get up to date on their shots is next Thursday. That also got pushed back because of Florence. I want to let you know a busy stretch of Independence Boulevard is going to shut down tonight and for the following 5 nights. Crews are going to be working on the Gold Line, and Traffic Team 9's Mark Taylor, he pinpoints the location of that closure, and he's sharing how you can avoid it.
Parts of Independence Boulevard are going to be closing for overnight road work. This is all tied to the Gold Line Phase 2. And this is going to be happening nightly. This starts tonight between the hours of 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Going to last through next Friday, the 2nd. You're going to see this stretch of Independence between Eastway and Hawthorne closed. They're erecting the new girders for the new Hawthorne Lane Bridge. That's why they're closing it nightly to minimize impact. But for those overnight commuters traveling on Independence Boulevard between Eastway and Hawthorne will have to use Central and Monroe roads.
And here's a live look outside from our Speedway camera. It is a little bit brighter in this view, and we do have some clouds around this morning, but overall the visibility clear. Here's meteorologist Jacqueline Shearer checking on those temperatures and our Saturday.
And you know what, yesterday when we were looking at this meteogram for our temperatures during the day, it was pretty much a flat line. But now we're starting to see those temperatures climbing during the day. We'll hit the low 60s as we're moving through your afternoon. So feeling a lot nicer out there, that's for sure. 62 degrees is our high temperature today. We're staying dry, but we are staying pretty cloudy, unfortunately. So that's something to keep in mind. But a little bit below average over the next few days. Our temperatures continue to climb all the way through Halloween. We'll take a look at that Halloween forecast. Plus, I have your neighborhood forecast for Shelby and Fort Mill coming up next.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Jacqueline. The Panthers won't have one of their top receivers on the field tomorrow when they face the Baltimore Ravens. Torrey Smith hurt his knee in last Sunday's game against the Eagles, and he missed practice all week. Smith spent the first 4 years of his career with the Ravens. His Panthers teammates know he would have been a big help against one of the best defenses in the NFL.
It seems like every week in this league you're playing against a really good defense with great rush guys, good guys in the back end. So it's kind of the way the NFL is going nowadays, and it puts a lot of pressure, and your offenses have challenges week in and week out.
Tomorrow's game starts at 1 at Bank of America Stadium.
More scooters in Charlotte could be dangerous. At 7:45, our investigation into the scooters, where we found riders using them, and the grim prediction from a councilman.
President Trump spoke to a packed arena in the Queen City.
Hello, North Carolina. Thank you very much, and I'm really glad to be back in Charlotte.
At 7:30, Channel 9's exclusive interview with the president, also asking him about the most important issues for local voters.